us right now, so it'll be in time for people. Today's going to be a hot day. My area, it's going to be at least 80 degrees, and the air quality is already at 209, which is extremely unhealthy. Now, this didn't make the regular news the other night, but good morning. How are you? Uh, this didn't make the regular news the other night. Good morning. Good morning. But another one of these knuckleheads tried to wipe out a electrical substation, and as it turned out, they didn't really know what they were doing, and so they got caught trying to knock out a substation that was only connected to a cell phone tower. You know, so these anarchists feel that if they can just get the grid to go down, then they can bring in the rest of their anarchy and whatever else they have planned. You know, knuckleheaded people that figure on tearing down the whole system and then magically building it up out of nothing. You know, so that being said, you want to have a protocol for these kind of events, and today being the perfect storm as far as high levels of heat and high levels of pollution. You want to have a combined protocol of emergency heat and electrical failure. So you want to take inventory of everything that you're doing today. For example, if you have children that are going to school and they might have a gym class, you don't want them running out around on a football field, in this heat and bad pollution and all. So you send them a note, going to school that excuses them from gym class for today, that kind of thing. if you're going out, if you're going out in your car, make sure that you got emergency cold packs in your car. You might want to skip drinking coffee today because coffee makes your blood pressure go up and it makes your body warmer, that kind of thing. Charge up everything that you have that's got batteries, flashlight, laptop, cell phones, excuse me, everything that's got a flashlight, you want to charge it up. So my room is 80 degrees with the air conditioning on. And because of the building being brick, and the brick outside is scalding hot, and the air pollution is bad. So it's hard on a person who's a better part of a century old to try and survive this. But I'm going to give it a shot. So another thing you want to do is anywhere in your room you have an electrical lamp, for example, you want to put a battery camping lamp and have it ready. Have everything ready so that you can normalize things as quickly as possible. In your freezer, you want your freezer stocked full. And what I mean is that if you don't have a lot of food in your freezer, you want to put bottles of water in your freezer, plastic bottles, not glass. You want plastic bottles of water that are 3/4 full so that when they freeze and they expand, they won't burst. And that way you'll have cool drinking water if the power goes out. You want to tell your kids not to open up the refrigerator door unnecessarily. You plan your meal. For example, if you're going to have breakfast, you open up the refrigerator door quickly one time. You take out your bacon, your eggs, your bread, your butter, your orange juice, everything for that meal. You take it out. ACM, good morning. You take everything for that meal out at the same time, put it into a cooler, and you get that door for the refrigerator shut as quickly as possible. And if you have an electrical gauge, you'll notice before it happens because the area will go into brownout. Like, for example, my area, I'm getting 120 volts at the plug, just slightly below what it should be. Normally it's 121 volts. So I know as the day progresses, as it goes further and further down, you go closer into brownout as the electrical company tries to stretch the electricity between customers. And the thing is, my refrigerator won't go on unless it has 114 volts to run on. Once it drops below 114 volts, the refrigerator won't go on. So my solution is I have my refrigerator plugged into a pass-through power pack that charges all the time, and then it charges a battery and inverter, and then that goes to the refrigerator. And you have to be very careful because when you spec that out, if you're going to do that, because many refrigerators, the motor doesn't like running off an inverter and battery. It has to be what's called pure sine wave. It can't be a power pack that's got modified sine wave. Modified sine wave is where the controller just goes positive and then negative, positive very abruptly to get the phase for AC current. Whereas pure sine wave does a very smooth, gentle up and down like normal AC current would be. So that's very important for the life of your appliance. And I've already replaced 3 refrigerators in my place because of power problems. And I'll look over someday and the voltage on the thing will say like one day it was 343 volts where it was clamping down a surge that was coming through the line. So if I didn't have that inverter on the refrigerator, it would have burned out my 3rd refrigerator. But I got smart and I decided to get the UPS unit for $179 and have that plugged into the refrigerator. Haven't had a problem since. So you want to make sure that your freezer is full of, if it's not full of food, that it's full of bottles of water, so that when the stuff hits the fan and the power goes out, you can put those bottles of water against your forehead to cool you down. You can drink the water as it slowly defrosts, that kind of thing. So, meal planning. You want to have cold meals. Again, you stay away from coffee. Iced tea with caffeine is not a particularly good choice. Dark soda, not a good choice. So, water with lemon in it is a good choice. Nice and refreshing and light. Crystal Light with, water with a little bit of Crystal Light in it is good. Make sure that you have all cold stuff to eat. Like cold baked beans are good. Kids enjoy cold spaghetti. That's good. Everybody likes to eat like cold pizza, cold spaghetti, a nice crisp salad, cucumber salad with vinegar and onion is good, and it's very cleansing for the body. Keep everything light and don't overeat your meals. Make sure that you eat just enough to get satisfied and then push away from the table. If I were a parent again, I would never force your child to eat because your child has got a small stomach, and people put a big plate of food in front of a child and they tell the child they're not getting up from the table until they finish the food. Give the child one of those to-go plates so that if the child doesn't finish a meal, you can snap the Tupperware lid on it and save it for the child later, 20 or 30 minutes, to go back and eat that food if they want. But don't make a punishment out of it. You want to have nice cold desserts like watermelon or cantaloupe, that type of thing. Everything should be cool and light. Your clothes should be loose fitting and white colored or light colored, to reflect the sun. In my area, I can't open up the windows because they're sealed shut, and I can't open up the door because all of my neighbors are right outside my door smoking blunt, and they don't want to blow it into their room. They'll come and stand by my door and blow their skunk and their blunt into my room. So I can't even think about opening the door in the morning to let the fresh air in. So I just have my air filters and my fan. And the fans are very important as far as keeping the air conditioner down. If you have an air conditioner alone, you really have to stress that unit out to cool your house. But my room right now is 81 degrees. It's cool and it's dry. And I got a fan across from me blowing some air. And I don't have a shirt on. For those of you that say you're offended that my site, I don't wear a shirt. I don't wear a shirt for a number of reasons, for health reasons, because being bedridden, it'll cause bed sores if I have a shirt on in being in bed. And also it'll make me hotter than I already am. So I'm following my own protocol. And like I said, I don't have my man boobs showing in the camera or anything like that. I'm very careful as far as camera placement. So there's no legitimate argument, for anybody to complain. But like I said, if you're offended, please go someplace else. And please give me a thumbs up, because these trolls have been giving me a rough time lately. And the only defense that I have against the trolls, if you want my channel to survive, is to give me a thumbs up so that the YouTube algorithm doesn't cut me off. So, New Zealand, how's New Zealand doing? So, you want to have these protocols in mind all the time. For example, if it's going to be a hot, high pollution day, fill the bathtub with cool water, so that if you have an overheated child or something like that, you already have the water drawn. Now, if I had a toddler, I wouldn't keep a full bathtub full of water. But you know what I mean. Having a bathtub full of water gives you 35 to 50 gallons of emergency water, that if things do get cut off, you have water to flush your toilet, you have water to wash your dishes. Dishes and all of that other stuff and trash can make a hot weather day really miserable. So you want to have paper plates and plastic spoons and cups ready, and make a picnic out of it. instead of getting your children all aggravated saying, well, the electricity, yeah, the Canadian Fire thing, we all getting hit with that. But in any case, you want to make sure that you don't tell your children too much information, that you're getting ready for something to happen. If they ask a question, just say, well, we're having a picnic for today. And you want to make sure your animals are well cared for. And fam, please don't let your animals drink out of the toilet. That is very unhealthy for dogs. It can lead to the dog having seizures. It can lead to the dog having brain parasites. And don't give your dog spoiled food. Same as a human being. Don't give your animal food that you wouldn't eat yourself, rotten meat or anything like that. If the meat's rotten, just get rid of it. So, the other thing about eating meat on a hot day is meats are very toxic to the body, and unless it's something like a clean meat like lamb. So you want to make sure that you don't overload your body with toxins like hot dogs and hamburgers and all that other stuff. If you're going to grill some salmon or something like that is good for you, and you have that nice grilled salmon. You can have it with some asparagus. You can put some lemon on it. Very refreshing, light meal. And then, of course, you're going to want a snack for later. So have some peanut butter and crackers on hand or something like that. And make sure that you're ready for the power to go out, because the grid is stretched to the max already. So you want to make sure that you have your lanterns ready. You don't want candles or anything that's going to make more heat in your house. And you want to have your board games ready. Socialize your children so they can get along, playing a board game with the rest of the family civilly, like Monopoly or something like that, instead of them just hanging out on their cell phone. But everything should be charged up. Your laptop, your cell phone, your rechargeable batteries, your flashlight, everything should be at the ready. And like I said, your refrigerator, if the power goes out, you want to eat what's in the bottom part of the refrigerator first, because the freezer will take a day or two before that food in the freezer starts to go bad. So you want to protocol your food and have your food in the freezer be your last resort before you go to canned food and packaged food, in an emergency. And you want to make sure that you use the lowest wattage appliance that you can possibly use. I have a high def TV, and it uses a lot of internet, and it uses a significant amount of power compared to my other TV, which is only a few inches smaller, and it's not a smart TV. I've had it for years. It uses a fraction of the juice, and it uses a fraction of the internet, because it's only a 1080p TV. And the reason for that is that the high def TV has to have a cleaner, a broader signal coming through the internet for it to produce a picture. So if you have crappy internet in your area, it's actually better to run a 750p TV or 1080p at the most. You'll find that most of your programs don't go over 1080p anyway, unless you get a movie like Avatar or something with really stunning effects, that's going to need a high def TV. But for the most part, 750 or 1080 is perfectly fine. And like I said, the one TV will run off of the crummy internet when the high def TV won't, because it needs that extra bandwidth and signal. So everything is relative, and I can still watch the one TV off of my battery inverter, whereas the big TV only lasts for a half hour, 45 minutes before it kills the battery on the inverter. And fam, you don't need those great big $2,700 inverter solar generators. All you need is, you go on Amazon, you need a 12 volt, 12 amp hour battery, lead acid battery, deep cycle. Make sure it says deep cycle rechargeable. $27 on Amazon. The inverter for a 500 watt pure sine wave inverter on Amazon is $52 for the inverter. A solar panel, a 10 watt solar panel, is $27. So for a little over $100, you got the equivalent a la carte of one of those $2,700 power packs. And the thing about using a 10 watt solar panel is, with the 10 watt panel, you don't need a solar converter, or a controller rather. You can skip the controller and hook the solar panel right up to your battery, and then when you have that emergency, unclip the solar panel and clip the inverter onto it, and you got free power. I always have 20% of my power that I get from my batteries and inverter here in my room. That's why you see one light is on, the other light from AC is off. And the reason for me is, I have to have a light even when I sleep, because if I don't have a light on, I go too deep into sleep, and I could DIE in my sleep, or I could have a seizure. So I always have my light turned on at night, and I always have a one of those athletic mouthpieces, so that I can pop it over my teeth to keep me from biting the crap out of my tongue. And that's just the reality of getting older and closer to DEATH, the winter of life. And no, it's not pleasant living this way. It's not pleasant living in between life and DEATH. But I'm stuck with what I got at the moment, and I have to take good care of myself. I take my garlic and my vitamins and all of that other stuff every day. I watch what I eat and what I drink. Everything gets monitored. And fam, if you're taking medicine, you want to write down when you've taken your medicine. That will keep you from underdosing or overdosing your medicine and winding up in the emergency room. Believe me, everything that goes into your body has a cause and effect. Whether it's a pill or a cup of coffee, everything has an effect, and there are various things that don't get along. I have blood pressure medicine that's absolutely lethal if you take it with grapefruit juice. So I have another one that doesn't like to get along with bananas. So anything I eat after I've taken a pill, I'll type in like strawberry and the medicine interaction, and see if strawberries or bananas or anything will affect the way my medicine works. And there are a lot of things that affect it. So these holistic stuff like St. John's wort and all of that other stuff. I had a boss who was dosing himself with that holistic stuff, and his blood pressure went absolutely insane. For example, you can take black licorice for certain things, and black licorice will make your blood pressure go right through the roof. I was in the emergency room one time, and this lady was brought in for high blood pressure, and she was telling the doctor what she had had that morning. And I said, Doctor, excuse me, it's a supplement she's taking is making her blood pressure go up. And the doctor said, You know about that stuff? I said, Yes, sir, I do. That particular supplement is what's making her blood pressure go up. So he was very grateful. He would have looked it up anyway and found out for himself. But it saved the lady, a few more minutes of discomfort by by piping up and telling the doctor. But you can do a great deal of damage to yourself, by not researching things properly. So you want to make sure that your dogs and your cats and everything have plenty of fresh water and dry food for the day to snack on. You want to make sure, like I said, if your kids have football practice, you maybe want to think about sending a note to school to make sure that they're not out on the field in 80 or 90 degree heat and a 209 index of polluted air, because I've had gym teachers that didn't know when to stop. When I was a kid, I had a gym teacher that used to chase me around with a stick and poke me if I didn't run fast enough, like I was some sort of cattle or something. They couldn't get away with that now, but they got away with it back then, where a teacher could grab you or hit you or poke you. Very different world back then in my day. But in any case, you want to figure out everything about what you have in your car. For example, I gave my friend and his wife a white umbrella for the wife. And they were like, well, why a white umbrella? And I was like, when it's 100 degrees out and your car breaks down, you'll find out why you want to keep a white umbrella in the car. Conversely, for winter, you want to do the opposite. But, it's just common sense to make sure that you have cold packs in the car and you have, an umbrella or even a bed sheet that you can take cover under if you get caught out in the open. It's not necessarily your forgetting to do something. It could be the person in the car in front of you that forgot to get gas or something that caused their car to block traffic. So, speaking of bed sheets, put sheets on the bed for your family to sleep under. Will save you on your air conditioning. You don't have to have a blanket to sleep under during the night. All you need at nighttime is a covering that's going to keep the fan from giving you a cold during the night, that type of thing. And fam, I am totally against having an animal in bed with you, sleeping with you. In my day and age, we never had animals sleep with you or sleep with your children or lick you in the face or all of that. If you think dogs are clean, just get a microscope for $25 at the hobby shop and then have the animal lick it and look under the slide. You'll see all kinds of wiggly jigglies on that slide after the animal has licked its butt or licked its private parts. And for people who say that a dog or a cat is your child's brother or sister, no. That dog or that cat, even though you love it, it's an animal. That cat can actually choke your baby. If you fed your baby a bottle and a cat gets into its room, there are times when a cat will put its mouth into your baby's mouth to lick the milk off your baby's tongue, and it'll actually choke your baby. And there have been cases where a cat has choked a baby all the way out doing that. I'm firmly against having animals all up around your family. You take care of the animal, you love on the animal. We always had a dog house for the dog. If the weather was really bad, you let it into the inside porch. You know, you pet the animal, you love on it, but you don't sleep with an animal. That's a new thing that people do, having a dog lie on top of you with its bare private parts and everything. You know, rubbing its anal gland, hey Katrina, rubbing its anal gland on your furniture. And if your dog is using your carpet for toilet paper, you're going to get children that have hookworms because when the dog runs its butt along the carpet, it's depositing those parasites into the carpet. And then your children run and play on the carpet, and the hookworms come in underneath the soft part of the toes. And that's how they get access into your child's body. And they cause very nasty problems like itchy butt and itchy belly button and all sorts of pruritus and other things, itchiness and allergies and brain fog and tiredness, all of this from parasites from animals. And it's more common in America than you think, fam. It's much more common. If you're one of those people that lets the dog give you doggy kisses, then you need to take a parasite cleanse every so often, you know, just like the animal has to, because you're letting it get its saliva in your mouth with all the wiggly jigglies that it's exposed to. So you need something like Paragon or something like that to take to get rid of those parasites. And you know you got them because you'll have a restless night's sleep, headaches, teeth grinding. That's all symptoms of parasite, achy bones. And everybody's got them, particularly if you eat at a couple of the fast food restaurants where you get that pre-digested hamburger meat and it gets served to you and it's almost cold, where it's not even served at a safe temperature. If you eat out at the Big B's or the Big M's, you need to take a parasite cleanse every so often. Get some pineapple. Fresh pineapple will chase parasites out of your system. Pumpkin seed will chase parasites out of your system. You have to be careful with pumpkin seeds because if you eat too many, they can be toxic. And you have to be careful doing a parasite cleanse because if you don't do a complete parasite cleanse, you'll just loosen the parasites all into your body. And you could wind up with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, where you've done nothing but release the parasites into your body. I particularly believe that gallstones are your body's way of encapsulating bad things like parasites, and that the gallstones form in the biliary tubing of the liver. I do not believe that gallstones form in the gallbladder. I believe that they form in the biliary tubing of the liver, but that's up for debate. That's just my personal view on that. You know, like I said, fam, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a doctor, but my father's abuse made sure that didn't happen. I wish to God I had thought about asking my neighbor, who was a French professor, and she was actually part of the French underground during WW2. Very educated lady. I could have lived in her house and completed my education and been the doctor that I wanted to be, rather than all of the hideous stuff that happened to me as a young child living out on the street among drug dealers and prostitutes and every other god awful thing. But fam, like I said, uh, do a heat protocol today and a bad weather protocol. Think about everything that's going to affect you today. Like I said, you want cold drinks, cold food, loose clothes, charge up all your batteries, get a USB powered fan instead of a AC current. Try to wean yourself off of AC current. Most everything I have in my room will run off batteries, and that's on purpose. Radios, TV, lights, everything that I have in my room will run off of my battery packs. And it doesn't cost that much money, and you can do it a little bit at the time, but you have to get started doing it before the stuff hits the fan, and particularly if you live in a high-rise building. And I'll tell you, fam, for my personal well-being, if I lived in a high-rise and you're on the top floor and you're riding that elevator and all of that other stuff, I personally would get an elevator key, an elevator door key. You're not supposed to have it, you know, but I've been locked in an elevator for a weekend. When I was a paper delivery boy, I delivered to this office building, and the building was brand new in Bethesda, Maryland. I even remember the building. It was a 74 building. And I went in the elevator with the newspaper to deliver it, pushed the button. The elevator went up a little bit and stopped. And it was the weekend. And I spent the longest time of hell on earth in that elevator with nothing to drink, only this blasted newspaper that I was trying to deliver. So fam, for my money, if you're in a high-rise building and you ride the elevator, you see that little circle up at the top of the door? That's where an elevator door lock key goes. I would order one. I would have it for emergency. That way, if the elevator, gets stuck, you can always open up the door. If it's in between floors, I helped a lady one time off of an elevator that was stuck between floors. I had her jump down to me, and I caught her. My back was gone for like 2 weeks after this 220-pound woman jumped down to me, but I didn't have to call the fire department or anything like that. And the lady got saved out of the elevator in just a few minutes. I never got thank you, kiss my butt, go to hell or anything from anybody, but at least the lady was safe. And like I said, you can't wait. You can't wait for emergency services when they're going to be all over the city trying to take care of stuff, especially with these blasted anarchists. Like I said, these knuckleheads that trying to attack the substation on purpose because they saw a Rambo movie. Any case, fam, I always try and help you with my channel. I love you. I care about you. Help me back. Hit that thumbs up button. And if you want, you can go to my Amazon link, chip in and get old Pop, a package of diapers or pee pads or anything like that. Because I'll tell you, fam, after that guy punched me in the spine, old Pop leaks like an old Studebaker, and there's nothing I can do about it. I've been bedridden for 4.5 years. I forgave the guy. I never called the cops on him. I had mercy on him. He didn't have mercy on me. But fam, be kind to each other. Remember, a kind word turns away wrath. It'll keep your family happy, and it'll keep you whole. And when you look back on the petty arguments about who didn't take out the trash or who didn't do the dishes, well, if you buy the PlayStation for your child, you got to know that they're going to be all the time in the basement on that PlayStation. So you did it to yourself. I personally I wouldn't have one of those in my house because of, games like Grand Theft Auto that teach your child the wrong thing. I just wouldn't have it. So, in any case, we all have to live with our choices. Do the best you can to stay in good straits with God. Keep yourself physically fit. Keep yourself prepped up. And then try and have a little bit of fun if there's any more time or resources left. Poppity Pops out.